This is the Astros Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Houston Astros, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Inexcusable. About the only way that you can put it for the Houston Astros this afternoon as they lose to the Seattle Mariners and drop the series, blowing it late after having a very comfortable lead heading into the eighth inning. There is a lot of blood on a lot of hands in this one as to why they lost. And you go from having a winning road trip to a 500 road trip that feels like a losing road trip with what just happened out there in an inexcusable loss for this team today there in Seattle. Hello and welcome to the Locked On Astros Postcast this early evening. I'm your host, Michael Connor. We have not been here the last couple of games because they were very, very late. I had very, very early wake-up calls, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me for the postcast, which are live after every single game. Don't forget to join us here. I'm sorry, somebody messed with my camera in my office here. But the Astros today, horrible. They left a lot of guys with runners in scoring position throughout the game. They had a lot of opportunities to add more to this. But look, here are the facts. I can't blame the offense for losing the game today. They gave the pitching staff 6 runs. And more often than not with the Astros, when they hand their pitching staff like 5 or more, they're going to win. They got a great start today on Hunter Brown again. He was very much Hunter Brown. It's everything after that that was a complete disaster. And that is what we're going to be talking about when you walk away from this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The number one thing in my mind for what started the downfall of this loss today, the 8th inning. Now, look, I get it. You're in a part of the season where, they've kind of been using a lot of bullpen recently. That's going to happen. Arms still aren't able to rebound exactly how you'd want. They're not as, they've been practicing, whatever. They're just not mid-season form. But putting Luis Contreras back out there for the 8th inning, from Joe Espada's standpoint, was a complete mistake. I didn't understand it when he did it. That is a manager getting greedy in the situation. Which, look, if it works out today, we're not even talking about it at all. Not one bit. So I think when these kind of losses happen, I have to look at it both ways. Bad move on Joe Espada. I understand it to an extent because you do have to go out there and try and manage your way through a season. And you can't use the same guys over and over and over every night because you're just going to blow everybody out. Guys have to have days off too. But Contreras going back out for the 8th was a huge, huge problem. Obviously, Oker gives it the grand slam with the guys on base. I will go back to roster construction. I have no earthly idea why they have as many lefties in the bullpen as they do. It makes absolutely no sense. They did a terrible job setting up what. Now, I know it's going to change a little bit. You're going to have Whitley and I'm blanking on the Ort. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Coming back soon. That's 2 right-handed, pitchers to add to that bullpen. That will be something that this team needs. But Oker gives it the grand slam. It's a 1-run game. The Mariners were also a disaster today. An absolute disaster. They couldn't field anything. They're throwing the ball all over the place. They're giving you gifts. And guess what they did the 9th? They gave you another gift. Jeremy Pena ropes one down the line. They give you the gift of allowing him basically to waltz on home because they can't do anything. And then here comes Bryan Abreu. Admittedly, for me, I have never been a big trust Bryan Abreu guy. 2022, absolutely, he looked great. Since then, there's been a lot that's been off. Whether it's him being in shape when they come into the season, whatever. I think right now what you're watching with Bryan Abreu is, I'm telling you, if you just watch his mechanics are horrible. His arm is lagging so far behind, and he has absolutely no control of anything. And even when he does have control, here's the thing that drives me, and it's not as simple as me sitting here saying this. I get that. And I think anybody that's played baseball knows that. You can sit here and say these things. It's never that simple. Sometimes there are situations where the opposing player puts a good swing on a pitch, puts it in play, gets a result. something unlucky happens. But here's the problem. It's been happening a lot with him so far this season. Always the walks. We know about the walks are always going to be an issue. But there's just never clean innings. And when I think about the elite of the elite, and maybe that's where the one thing that they've been like lacking, that one guy that's now credit to Josh Hader recently. He's done a lot of that. Been locked down, looking like the guy that he's supposed to be. But man alive, Bryan Abreu has some of the most wicked and awesome stuff of any pitcher in Major League Baseball. And he is just, to me, not trustworthy at all. Because he does not, it's very rare that you go through an inning with Bryan Abreu and it's clean. It just isn't. And look what happens today. Look what ends up being the result. An absolute disaster. And like I mentioned, it's not just on Abreu. It's also on Espada for keeping Contreras. I'm not a Contreras guy at all. The quicker he's out of the bullpen, fine with me. But you walk out of that series, instead of being 6-6, you're 5-7. You went from a 4-2 road trip to a 3-3 road trip, and I'm telling you, it feels like a losing road trip. I'm not going to be the sky is falling, everything is awful, they're done. You can't do that because, again, it's early in the season. Things change so much between now and the end of the season. I'm just annoyed. I think that's the best way to put it. For the second consecutive season, I am annoyed with how they have started the season. And I am not in the world of I want to watch them every year dig a hole and then have to climb out of it through the summer and hope that the rest of the division isn't good enough to hold on to a big lead or whatever it might be, and the Astros eventually prevail with who they are. It's annoying. It's just simply annoying what they are doing. They haven't locked in offensively enough. Overall this series, not a ton of offense until today. Bats will heat up. I acknowledge that. It's easy to see that it will come around at some point in some areas. But it's just like not playing to the capabilities. And to lose a game again like that today where you watch Seattle, I think anybody that watched the second of that game, they were terrible. The Mariners are terrible today. They're kicking the ball over the place. They're making terrible throws. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And here you are. Here you are at 6:35 Central Time as we do this show live, talking about a loss instead of what looked like it was going to be a very, very easy victory. And again, you wasted another great day from what might be the ace of your staff now. And even him, he was resilient today. He didn't have the whiff stuff today. He wasn't getting any whiffs. He getting a ton of foul balls. I think it was like over 30 foul balls in the game. Like 13, 14 whiffs in the game total. But what do elite pitchers do when they don't have all? They still find a way. 6 shutout. They needed him to go at least 6, and he was awesome. And you hate that for guys like that. Not that, we live in a world where win-loss is what is calculated for everything now with pitchers, but to see the win in the win column for that pitcher matters at times. I'm Hunter Brown. I'm pissed today. It's just me. Guys behind you did not do their job, and here you are talking about a horrible end of the series. And now you've had a long plane ride home, too. Like 4.5-hour plane ride from Seattle where, they're going to shake it off and move on because they're all pro. But, right now, but it's pretty quiet in that clubhouse. Know what just happened out there on the field. Simply put, this team has to come home and they have to have a big weekend against a team that's playing good baseball right now. We'll talk about that and more of the decisions that have been made today after this here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF center line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic associations and organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. There's so many great things to love about it. I love the Just Ingredients. They prioritize the wholesome and nourishing ingredients without all the artificial junk. Whether you're recovering after a workout or need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout delivers real results. Visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. One more message before we get back to our Astros discussion following the loss today here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. It's a great way to go ahead and mix in some props, whether it be three-pointers, to steals, to assists. FanDuel has so many ways for you to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Locked On Astros Postcast continues after a absolutely brutal choke of a loss today by the Astros. They've got bad losses now. They're 5-7 on the season. Is that the worst loss to this point? I have to jog my memory for a second here on what they lost. That's easily the worst loss of the season. They lost tight ones to the Mets, and they got beat down by the Giants, swept out at home. That series is going to be the worst series so far. But today, to just completely gag it away, there at the end is as bad as it can get for this ball club, who now returns home. But you never know how to feel about when they return home. Which team's going to show up? Will they be able to hit at home? We'll find out Friday night at Minute Maid Park. They do have the day off tomorrow. They have like 5 straight Thursdays off. Hopefully, a night back in their own bed. Well, what time is it in Seattle? It's like 4 o'clock. The airport from the ballpark's probably 15, 20 minutes. Traffic's usually not great there. Like I said, like 4.5, but let's just say they're not getting back into Houston until after midnight. Probably. They get a decent night's sleep. Sleep in, do their thing. Hopefully some home cooking will help. They got to figure it out. I'm telling you, they got to figure this out quick. Not that everybody else in the division is playing unbelievable baseball. You know, the Rangers are up there at the top. They've got a negative run differential still, and they're winning games. It's pretty impressive. The Angels come into this one hot to start the season, but we've seen this story with the Angels before. When does it come crashing back down? But right now they're playing good ball. You don't want to You don't want to screw around too much here. They'll play Friday night, Saturday, and of course the day game on Sunday to wrap it up. And simple as it gets, you cannot do anything less than 2 out of 3 against the Angels this weekend. He's also in this game against Seattle today. Think about it. With there being less games against each opponent, all these matter more. I mean, 13 against your division opponents all year long. We know about tiebreakers, all that stuff that matters. You had 2 out of 3 right there in front of you to start the season series against Seattle, and you blew it. Now you got the Angels coming in. You better take 2 out of 3 in that one as well. Of course, when the game ends Friday night, we will be live with you here on this channel for the Locked On Astros Postcast. Hopefully not talking about a bullpen imploding. Hopefully not talking about the manager sending somebody out in the 8th that probably shouldn't have been sent back out there. Hopefully we'll be talking about the offense coming home and hitting a few home runs, doing a few things. That'd be great. Would love to see it. Cleanse the palate for what we just watched out there. All right. Again, join me Friday night when that one wraps up after Astros and Angels. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Go away. Forget about it. Don't think about it. Go find something to do and move on to tomorrow. Talk to y'all again Friday on the Locked On Astros Postcast.